Alright folks, this summer break was a crazy one. Even by F1 standards, one retirement, just one led to a series of seat changes, drama, and chaos. However, there are still a few seats that haven't been taken up. In today's video, we'll be talking about the favorites for each of the remaining seats on the 2023 F1 grind, so make sure to stay until the end of the video to learn all about it. First up, Alfa Romeo keeps Zhou. Alfa Romeo is one of the teams that had an empty seat, while Valtteri Bottas' seat was confirmed, and why wouldn't it be? He's a darn good racer. They didn't know what to do with Zhou. See, he isn't a bad driver, but he's also not that good. Here's why that's not so much of a problem. Zhou Guanyu is a Chinese racer, the only driver from China on the grid. Consequently, he attracts a lot of viewers from the country, which happens to have a large population. That helps the struggling team with sponsors and overall finances. Secondly, he's only 23 years old. The 22 season was his rookie season, but he still managed to impress folks. In the Drivers' Championship, he only stands in 18th place, but he's above Alex Albon and Latifi. Both are experienced drivers. He still has a lot of time to grow, and let's not forget, he would have been higher on the table if it wasn't for his terrible crash, which led to him missing the consequent race. Alfa Romeo has decided to put faith in the guy, hoping he'll improve with time. What do we think about that? We think they made the right move. He definitely will get better. So that's one chapter from the chaotic seat swapping that's now closed. Bad news for Danny Rick though, but we'll get to that later in the video. Let's not forget though, this romance may not last very long. From 2026 onwards, Audi is bowing up Sauber, and Alfa Romeo is leaving. Zhou will have to race extremely well to impress his new German bosses. Next up, Haas. When it comes to Formula 1, Haas is unfortunately at the bottom of the barrel. Well, not really bottom, they are still a lot better than Williams. No offense to the British team, but they're not even in the midfield. They have problems with sponsors actually. They just have pure bad luck with sponsors. Remember Earl Colley and the whole Rich Energy saga? Yeah, that's the one we're talking about. The one good thing that was going for them was their driver lineup. They had Kevin Magnussen, an experienced solid driver, and they have the pedigree Mick Schumacher. Unfortunately for Mick though, his F1 prospects look extremely slim. Realistically speaking, he has been nothing more than an outside shot for Alpine, and for reasons not known to any of us, Haas has decided against keeping him for a third reason. As an active race driver with 2 years of F1 experience and the Schumacher name, you would think he would be of interest, but he's not. He's all set to part company with Ferrari, where he has officially remained an F1 junior for the last couple of years, and become a free agent. This will give him a chance of joining teams other than Haas and Ferrari, and it makes sense, doesn't it? Leclerc is only 24, Sainz is only 28, so he wasn't ever going to be promoted from junior either way, because Ferrari isn't going to ruin a good thing by breaking up their partnership. As far as Haas is concerned, it seems like they're seriously considering Nico Hulkenberg, but they haven't ruled out Daniel Ricciardo either. Moving on, let's talk about Alpine. Alpine is a French team that was previously known as Renault. They're still backed by them though. Anyways, their main driver, Esteban Ocon, and we call him main because of how long he's been with the team, earned himself a multi-year extension with Alpine last year, after an excellent start to life alongside the returning Fernando Alonso, taking his first race victory in the process. However, Alonso, the awesome two-time former world champion, shocked the entire F1 world with an abrupt announcement that he would be joining Aston Martin in 2023 to race alongside Lance Stroll. And this is one of the things that were triggering by Vettel's retirement. Currently, Vettel is racing for Aston. They traded in one former world champ for another. Now Alpine has an empty seat. Do you know what they did? They announced that their junior driver, Oscar Piastri, will be racing for them. But the funny thing is, they forgot to ask Oscar. And the funnier thing is, Oscar was sleeping at the time of the announcement. Anyways, that pissed the 21-year-old off, and he announced he won't be driving for Alpine and will go to McLaren instead. Now they have an empty seat. The most obvious choice seems to be Daniel Ricciardo, but not so fast. The Honey Badger already raced for Renault. They paid him millions to leave Red Bull for the team. Then he left them high and dry for McLaren. So considering all that history, they won't be too interested in him. Now, recent rumors suggest that Pierre, the bloke from AlphaTauri, will be joining the team. But wait, who's going to take his seat? Let's find out. Up next, AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri is another team that's not really good. But does it matter? No, because this is Red Bull's sister team, and they literally just made it to promote their clothing brand, and it kind of acts as their junior program. Yes, Red Bull's junior team races in freaking F1 of all places. Anyways, AlphaTauri has two young drivers, Yuki Tsunoda, the guy who can't stop swearing, and Pierre Gasly. As we just talked about, Gasly seems to be linking up with Alpine. That means that his current team is going to need to fill in his seat. Don't you worry, folks, because Helmut Marko, the Red Bull executive, was seen linking up with Nyck de Vries, the reserve driver who impressed everyone at Monza. When Helmut Marko was asked, he stated that it was very much possible. Yet, this is the same guy who vehemently insisted a few weeks back that Gasly won't be going anywhere. What we're glad about is them confirming Yuki Tsunoda. He might not be the greatest, but a driver should have at least 3 seasons to prove his worth, and Tsunoda has had 2. 2023's his chance. Lastly, we have Williams. Williams needed to fill in both of his seats for the 2023 season. Remember when we called Hans the bottom of the barrel? Well, no. This team is the actual bottom of the barrel. They stand dead last in the Constructors' Cup with only 6 points. For context, AlphaTauri, a team just 1 position above them, has 34 points. Alex Albon and Latifi don't seem to be a combination that's working, but Albon's not the problem, at least according to the folks over at the team, because he's been confirmed for a 2nd season and given a multi-year contract after scoring all of the team's points before the summer break in 2022. Nicholas Latifi, who largely played second fiddle to Alex Albon, is seeing his F1 journey come to an end following the conclusion of the 2022 campaign. When their boss Capito was asked about the lineup for next year, he stated that there's still a decision to be made, but he won't be rushing it. He'd like to take the time to ensure that the next driver can help the team level up a little bit. Speculations suggest they were after Oscar Piastri, but well, that didn't work out. Now they're after Nyck de Vries, but that won't work out either, will it? Because he's also wanted by some of the better teams, so we don't know who they're going to end up with. And folks, that's that. As far as drivers without seats and seats without drivers are concerned for the 2023 season. Now let's take a couple of minutes to quickly discuss some important developments in the sport. Other news. First of all, the most handsome man on the grid is without a seat. Hey, his words, not ours. Although we wouldn't disagree. And while Danny Rick may have a lot going for him in the looks department, it seems like he's not doing so well in the driving department. He's most likely not racing in 2023. He did get offered a reserve driver role at Mercedes, but come on, that's beneath him. Don't just take our word for it. Even Lewis Hamilton said so. But yeah, it's sad to see one of the drivers with the most potential without a seat for next year. What's more, Red Bull might just be in trouble. So apparently, it turns out that Red Bull breached the cost cap by a whopping 5% in 2021. Now 5% may not sound like a lot, but it's F1. That amounts to $1 million. However, folks don't really think they're going to get penalized for that. Firstly, a lot of people were swearing at the FIA on Twitter for being partial. Secondly, Fixed was trending on Twitter for the 2nd time this month, and we still have a lot of days to go until November. What do you think will happen, folks? Finishing up, Alpine's finishing rate is unacceptable. According to the current Alpine driver, Alonso, the team has an abysmal finishing rate. He questioned the reliability of the team after he ran 6th in Singapore, but retired due to an engine failure. Then his teammate Ocon also retired because of an engine failure. What are the odds? Apparently really high. Anyways, we're sure he's glad to be going to Aston Martin. That's a wrap for this video. Where do you think Nyck de Vries will end up? Comment below and let us know. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more. See you at the next one.